Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Wildheart podcast.
Where passion meets purpose.
I'm glad one of us remembers our tagline. Just wanted to start off.
You're Tony.
I'm Tony.
I'm Erin.
And we're homeschooling our kids, which is one of the main topics for today.
I feel like you have no idea how we start these anymore.
Yeah, well, we had a little bit of a hiatus, but...
we came back 2 weeks ago.
And now we're back again.
Yeah, we record every 2 weeks.
Yes, on Wednesdays, generally speaking, unless things come up. What have we been up to the last couple of weeks?
I feel like time is just an illusion of stuff. We've been up to a lot of stuff.
Time is an illusion, technically.
Yes, we've been up to a lot of things. Specifically for me on the home front, we've been doing a lot of activities with the homeschooling group. Lots of activities and just things around the house as well. Spring is in full swing. So we've been trying to get out and do a lot more things.
I built a deck.
You did. And then we smoked a brisket because you got a new barbecue.
Uh-huh.
Barbecue smoker combo dealio.
A master-built 800, if you're wondering.
Gravity series.
It's been good. It's we've experimented with pizzas a lot.
Oh, yes.
We've discovered that the pizzas... I don't think we've made better homemade pizzas until now.
Yeah, if I will say, if anyone has the ability to go and get themselves an actual pizza oven, best pizzas you'll have. Ours is better than the other ones that we've had.
I think we still have a lot of learnings with our pizzas, but we're just using store-bought frozen dough for now. I feel like we're going to get into making our own dough and, maybe we'll make it in bulk and, pre-freeze it ourselves.
Yes, like the ice cream I made.
Yeah, we're making our own ice cream now.
We've been doing that for a while, though.
Since this winter.
Christmas.
Yep.
I finished my workout program.
Yeah?
Yep. I made it to the end of month 3 of the program, and
do you want to talk about it? It's a pretty good program. I would, we're not getting paid, but
yeah, I'm not an affiliate of this program, but I have noticed that it is a really good one. So it's a program. Do you want me to tell you exactly? Yeah. Okay.
If you feel comfortable telling.
So it's a program run by the Micro Squad. It's the Valkyrie training program. It is based on a book that I read. It's actually based on the series of the books. A Court of Thorns and Roses is the series, specifically the A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. So the lady, Sam, who created this program, she basically read the book and was like, I could do a training program for that. And she has a history of a background in martial arts and eskrima and different Pilates and different workout stuff.
She's kind of a personal trainer-esque.
Yeah. And so she created this really, really awesome program, and it's been really interesting because, first of all, the Micro Squad, why I really enjoy the Micro Squad so much is because they are very I would say they're very body positive, but it's more they don't really care who you are, what shape, size you are, whatever. The focus is to get healthy. To get healthy and to gain strength, right? But on top of that, even Sam, when she's doing her workout, she's like, yeah, I've filmed 3 of these today. I'm tired. I'm really stiff in this area today.
They're real.
She's very real. And it's just it's like working out with a friend versus going up to some of the other videos I've watched where
or
I'm
all
the
the
big
ones
bro and
all the ones I'm watching / doing just straight off of YouTube.
They're very curated and they make you feel like they're unrealistic to obtain, at least in my opinion.
Fair.
So I think that's one of the main reasons why I've been so motivated to do them every day. Yeah, anyways, so it's a 3-month program. I took 4 months to do it because in one of the months we did a quest. She sets up different quests sometimes, and so I did a quest in February, which was kind of off tangent to the program.
Hey, are you still working out and are you having fun?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it wasn't part of the program. But anyways, yeah, I finished it. It was good. Over the course of the last, 120 some odd days that I've been working out consistently, I've noticed so much. Like, even if, I've got to actually sit down and write a testimonial for this program because it's been awesome. But within the first couple of weeks, I noticed a huge shift in even just, my posture. And, at the time, we had a 6-month-old going on 7 months, and he wanted to be rocked constantly, and not even just rocking, but bounce rocking. So I'm bouncing.
He wanted to brock.
Down. Yeah, he wanted to brock apparently. And I found within the first couple of weeks of doing this program, that was not as exhausting as it had been. And my posture shifted. I was able to even just knowing what muscles to engage when you're doing certain things, like just holding your baby and making sure your shoulders are down, pulled away from your ears, your lat muscles are engaged and all that stuff. I honestly, I can't I can't talk highly about this program more than what I've already done, because it's just been so great for building strength, building endurance, changing my posture. My SI joint issue is pretty much non-existent now, which is awesome. And I even have, I don't know right now if I have the energy that I used to, but I feel I'm able to when our daughter comes up to me and is Tag, you're it, and then takes off, I'm oh, it's on. Take off the socks and run around the house for 15, 20 minutes. And she just loves it. She screams and she screeches and she gets excited, and then you got hide on her.
I think, yeah, it's a good program. I've done a few of them. Mostly, I gravitate more to kettlebells and things like that, generally speaking. So I don't think they have much for kettlebells, but they do have
not in the program.
Yeah, not in the program, but essentially. Yeah, I mean, the ones that I've done, I've had fun. The kickboxing one was kind of fun, and then
you haven't even tried the sword ones though.
No, but I've been doing a lot more running with the kiddo and bike rides. So one of the things that we've been doing is now that it's nice out, spring is here. Essentially, we go for a bike ride, and the kiddo goes for a bike ride, and I run alongside, and essentially it's anywhere from a 15-minute to a half-hour jog. So it's been good for a little bit of extra cardio.
I toddle behind with the baby.
Yeah, when you join. You don't always join, but...
No, yeah.
Sometimes if the little guy's asleep, then you stay behind, and we just go out.
Anyways, it's kind of
back to the main topic.
Yeah, it's we went off on a tangent.
That's all good. It was a good one. Homeschooling. We're homeschooling our kids. We figure we've done a little bit. We're obviously not experts, but at the same time, we've come a long way. And I feel like there's a few...
I was going to say, I feel like by us also being active, it instills into our children the desire to want to be active as well. Our daughter has
kids by nature are active, but
well, yes, but I mean our daughter has been calling my program my superhero training. So she wants to be a superhero when she grows up. So sometimes she says she wants to be do my program, but sometimes she's not into it.
Well, attention span and all that fun stuff. But
she'd rather sit on the iPad is what she wants.
Oh, I'm sure she would. Actually, that's a good place to start. Yes, we use tech with our schooling.
How could you not?
Well, yeah, I acknowledge that we're technology is a tool, and it's all how you use it, right? What kind of things are on the iPad that you get her to play with or use? It's catered, right? It's not just free.
Yeah, no.
Free game of YouTube. It's not like we release her to the world.
No. Like I've got a specific set of apps that she can play or utilize on my iPad. One of them is Tutu Learn, and like that one has quite a few different options. It's kind of like you open it up. I think it was a paid one. I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I've had to update them, but I think it was Tutu Learn, and it has a whole bunch of different activities. Like there's letter learning, there's matching, there's like vocabulary building, there's different
numbers and letter stuff.
Yeah, numbers and letters. It's very preschool and early elementary school stuff. And then there's like little games where like one of them, she really loves this one specifically, but it talks about bees and like the cycles of bees. So it's like, oh, the bees are, like the babies have been laid or whatever, and then you gotta like put all the little eggs into the different honeycombs, and then it goes through the calendar of like how quickly they hatch. And like the females versus the males have different hatch times, and then so does like the princess bees, and the drones or whatever versus the workers. It's very interesting. Anyway, she goes through it all, and then she's got to feed the bees. Yeah, it's entertaining. Yeah, and then it goes through like their life cycle. There's one about a bear that like you're gonna get the bear fed, and it's like all about like matching different things. It gets really good. She really enjoys it.
What's the Montessori one that you?
Pock Pock.
Okay.
Pock Pock is a really good one. It's what I really like about that is it's very low stimulating, and it's all open, like open-ended kind of. I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically a lot of possibilities. So you're met with, when you open it up, you're met with all these circles that are different activities, and you're like, okay, cool. There's no talking in this that's English or any language. It's just kind of a gibberish word. And then you just go through, and there's no explanation, no...
It's open-ended in a sense.
Yeah, it's all about discovery.
It's not like you have a game that you play through from beginning to end with a story. It's like you're building a world, or you're building a... It's kind of like, I imagine it... The best way I could describe it is like a SimCity-esque thing.
Kind of, not really. Like, there's a lot of... Like, I know you have it pulled up over here, but there's like a lot of different like things that you can do. So one of the ones that our daughter really enjoys is like... It's kind of like a play space where it's just like a whole bunch of animals. It's like a little scene of like animals, so kind of like a farm.
People, yeah.
And people with in a house and stuff like that. She's obsessed with this goat. She's like, I have to feed my goat. We will have to have a goat someday. So she feeds the goat, and then she like bathes the goat, and she's just like obsessed with the goat in this thing. And then she likes to cook, so she adds like lots of different things to the oven, and then like the oven will create something for her. It's kind of cool.
Meal, kind of.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And there's one that's like a town, that's like just a big town, and then they actually added one that was you get to build your own. Kind of like you got all these different blocks that kind of come together, and you get to build up your own little thing. So it's... Oh, she likes the dress-up one, too. And the dinosaurs. The world puzzle, that's what it was. Where you get to build out your own world. It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
And then you can send weather through and, like, fill up the...
That's the SimCity one I was describing. It's like essentially, it's kind of like SimCity. But yeah, it's peaceful. It's, like, kind of calming. It's not super high.
It's not loud graphics and, like... It's not overly stimulating.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, stimulating.
I find because she does get it occasionally, like if I have to have a shower and I need her like focus on something so she's not causing havoc around the house, or when I do go and do my workouts, she would like to sit down and watch something or do something on the iPad.
If she's not engaging in the workout, then that's a good way to keep her out of trouble, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I find it like... When I'm done and I'm like, okay, it's time to shut down the iPad, if she's playing Pock Pock or even Tutu Learn, it's like, okay, and she can close it off pretty quickly, or like, oh, just give me a moment, I want to finish feeding my goat.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
It's
like,
always that's and like it's a like in the past we've tried like we still do, you know, an episode here or there of whatever,
mm-hmm.
but it's the resistance to stop, like especially if you're in the middle of an episode, but like just the resistance from high like any high stimulating TV show or whatever to these are night and day. Just
Mm-hmm.
like the turn off time is a non-issue essentially.
And the behavior after the tablet is turned off.
Yes.
Because I find after we've turned it off, she's like, oh, okay, no worries. But like if she's watching something, or if she's watched a couple of episodes of a show on like Disney Plus or whatnot, she can be interesting, very overstimulated. You can tell like she's I don't know. It's like
It's different. Yeah, it's different.
I don't know how to describe it, but she's different. It's not the same.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a great digital tech tool learning.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of I guess curriculum or learning materials would you say that we've kind of come to use, or some things you've heard of?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is like we've kind of gotten to the point where like we use a lot of like we're very child led in the way that we do things. So like when our daughter expresses interest in, you know, learning an activity or learning something, we try to, you know, cater that learning around that. So I think she mentioned to you something about tying her shoelaces or learning how to tie shoes. And then
I forget how it came up, but yeah, it was one of those things where she's just like expressed like none of her shoes currently have laces, and I think we saw somebody tying their shoes, whatnot, and she just kind of expressed the interest in it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like we could definitely look into it, and that's when I 3D printed the shoelace tire gadget. Essentially, just used a little bit of paracord here, which I have a pile of, and you can make this with cardboard as well, but essentially a piece of cardboard with some shoelace material that's fed through it, and you have a tool for learning how to tie your shoes before you actually have shoes.
Yeah, I was going to say if you don't have shoes that already have laces.
Yeah, I mean, the goal with this tool was essentially not to have dirty shoes on the table kind of thing as you're trying to learn to tie shoes. So she could play with it. I found she really liked to lace it.
Yeah, she really wanted to
different ways.
Thread it through.
So make sure you kind of, if you're using paracord, you know, melt off the ends and make sure they could feed through the ends. They actually have little ends that you could crimp on. I don't have any of those right now, but maybe I could 3D print them. I'll see.
Maybe.
But yeah, again, lighter, and you just basically catch the end on fire, put it out, maybe with your fingers if you don't mind getting them burnt a little bit, and then you have a teaching tool. What else?
So one thing that I learned about recently is ABC Mouse, which is more about like math, and it's very preschool, early elementary. There's phonics and some literacy aspects to it. Being a homeschooling parent.
Is that a digital resource though?
Yeah, it's an app. So it's something that you can like download on your phone or on a tablet or whatever. Again, I haven't tested this one out, but I've heard that as a homeschooling parent, you can get a free account to use it.
And I mean, I guess going back to all the digital resources, we have, obviously there's like, just Google it is the short answer, but you know, there's obviously AI, the advent of AI nowadays. Knowing how to do your prompts is important with AI, just because obviously the one thing I've come to realize recently with AI, it's not a positive thing, but it's the reality of AI is that they program it with biases, and so it's still a good tool to use, even though it may have biases, you just have to, just like with people, just like with anything, be aware of its biases and work with or around them. So, if you know ChatGPT or whichever, pick your AI of choice, has a bias towards something, prompting around that is one of the keys, especially if you have, you want to be able to explore both sides of a perspective. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't allow you, but when it comes to homeschooling, prompting it to be act like a teacher. Montessori teacher is a good one. I like to use that prompt a lot. Act like a Montessori teacher with for a 4-year-old, and essentially, pick subject and make me a lesson plan for this. And that way it kind of runs through an idea, and it's literally, if it's a subject, that the one I keep coming back to is when it was in the winter, and we were observing the frost on the windows in the vehicle, and taking 5 minutes before starting the journey to look through a lesson and then go through a lesson on the drive was one of the most beneficial things that I've done, with AI, in terms of on the go learning, just that something that was really interesting to our daughter.
She still talks about condensation.
Yeah, and it's amazing what sticks when it sticks. So don't discount that as a tool. Even you may or may not like it, or but it's tool, and it's going to be more and more prevalent, especially when it comes to in the future using, and not saying that we're going to let our kids use it right off the hop, but knowing that it is there and we can use it, and knowing when to fact check the fact checker, so to speak, is important too. So that's all I'll say about that. When it comes to historical internet resources, there's the Khan Academy, good old YouTube University.
Yeah, I was going to say YouTube's been really good.
And I've been lately putting a lot of Number Blocks on, which is a YouTube channel for younger kids, and it's focused on the number side and math, but they make it a lot more interactive in the sense that you have there's musical numbers, and our 4-year-old is essentially counting well up to 100 at this point. She's able to do basic addition, subtraction, and
I'd say under 10 she can do basic.
Yeah, no, she did 12 today.
12 she can do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's but generally speaking, she's even getting to the point where 1 to 10 addition she's able to do without the finger counting. Some of them she has essentially memorized, so it's impressive for a 4-year-old, considering knowing 1 to 10 historically is kindergarten.
Yeah.
And she's not even in kindergarten yet. So
yeah,
it's nice to see, and I have to keep coming back to this because it's a battle for me. I know it's not a race, and it's not a competition for historical curriculum, because making sure that we cover the bases is one thing, but every child learns at their own pace. And I don't want to project maybe my expectations or my whatever you would call it, preconceived notions onto the kiddo, because you can't force a kid to learn anything they don't want to learn, and
I've been learning that.
So, and you're not going to stop a kid from learning what they do want to learn. So it goes both ways. But yeah, do you want to talk about some of the paper book resources?
Yeah, so like just a couple of books that I've found have been really helpful in getting into kind of like the homeschooling mindset has been Unschooling to University by Judy Arnold. I think I talked about this on one of the past episodes as well. but it's a book that basically walks through how to do unschooling from like the beginning all the way up to university. She's a Canadian author. I believe she's from Alberta, and she basically has taken, I don't know how many students she's kind of talked about, but she's followed a couple of students throughout their homeschooling, unschooling career, and then into university, and she's it's been really good. I'm slowly making my way through it. Like, I have both a physical copy and an ebook copy because in this day and age, reading physical books is not my strong suit right now. I need digital. But yeah, it's a really good resource. A lot of people who have read the book have talked about it like so much. Like, it's come highly recommended, especially if you're going to go down the unschooling path. I know you read Hold On to Your Kids by Gabor Mate.
Yeah, I'll touch on that briefly. It's, if you're ever doubting, it really, for me, it solidified the concept of if you're struggling with the idea of socialization and positive, it's whether it's a positive or negative effect on your kids in the school system. It helps explain maybe a perspective that, for me, one of my takeaways was essentially is that the school system currently, while not overgeneralizing again, not attacking it, it tends to have children lead children to an extent, peer-led. So opposed to historically, it was very, you had the way it described it, it was essentially the parents were the guides in a sense to the learning in the home environment. When that child entered the school environment, the teacher took charge. But as evident in a lot of schooling nowadays, I'll just say it's becoming less and less of that, and that transition from authority of parent to teacher is less evident, and opposed to the teacher being the example, kids are gravitating more to their peers being their examples, and in a sense it's turning into more like the blind leading the blind from that. But obviously the book goes over a lot more detail than I can here. Just kind of elaborated on that for me. One of the big takeaways I took away from that book. But if you're ever curious about socialization and or the positive effects of holding on to your kids, if you will, that book will help solidify a few ideas maybe for you.
Yeah, and then just one more thing about like learning and curriculum in terms of like physical books. One of the things that we've been using to help our daughter learn how to read is a book called 100 Easy Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I can't remember who it's by now. It's like Siegfried or something like that. We're gonna Google. But this book basically has 100 lessons, and it teaches you the letter sounds first. What is it? Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons.
Siegfried Engelmann.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it was Siegfried. But yeah, there's obviously 100 lessons, and like right off the hop, you're learning letter sounds. So you're learning the sounds of the letters first before you even get to learn the names of the letters. And I think we're about a third of the way through the lessons. And like it was funny because she was I can't remember what we were looking at today, but she kind of just out of nowhere she just looks at me and she goes, cat. And she'd read cat, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, that is cat. But yeah, it's a really easy for me to understand book. I know you.
I had a lot of trouble with it, clearly.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, it makes sense in my brain, and our daughter really enjoys doing it when she actually wants to put effort into learning how to read. I think she has a harder time because it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting down and you're learning from a book, and that's not exactly how she wants to learn right now. But
yeah, she's very. Lately, she's been really taking to hands-on. Like when we were building the deck, I was getting her to paint the cutoff ends, and I remember I looked away for a minute or two, and I looked back, and she was essentially painting the deck with like everywhere instead of just the cutoff ends. But she's been really taking to mazes and kind of puzzles.
she's really good at mazes.
Yeah, she's particularly good. So I try to leave out activity every morning. So lately it's been a lot of mazes, and she kind of hammers through them. Usually, you're the one who sees it. So
Yeah. Recently, one of the ones that you left, just a funny story because I didn't get a chance to tell you yet. She was going through, and I guess she got stuck, and just so she decided she'd go back up to the beginning, and then she's like doo-doo-doo-doo, hopped over the wall, and then got through the maze. And I chuckled. And I was like, "Oh, did you finish it already?" And she's like, "Yeah, I had to hop over the wall." I'm like, "That's not how we do the maze." And then it was funny because she got close to where she needed to go. She just didn't follow the line. Like, she didn't go further, far enough to, like, actually get to the point where she could go and follow the rest of the maze. And I showed her that she just needed to go to here, and then she was able to get the rest of the way done. But it was really funny how she's like, "Yeah, I just hopped over the line."
Hey, no, you can't hold. Or we do want to teach not having to play by the rules.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
It was funny. I chuckled and I said, "Okay, that's awesome. Good problem solving. Let's actually figure out how we get through this maze without hopping over walls." But yeah.
Let's touch on some of the community networks and support. Obviously, you've been quite busy in
Yes.
that department. Essentially, you've been going to a whole bunch of community homeschooling group activities.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've been following us for a little while, you know that I have joined with another mom to basically start up a homeschooling co-op or group. This basically came about through Facebook. So we've been doing a lot of activities, and they're kind of like play-based education, more socialization type activities at this point, which has been really fun and has been getting, our daughter interested in actually, like, playing with other children, because I know she takes some time to warm up, which is okay. But now she's seeing some of these kids more often, and she's becoming more familiar with them, so she's starting to go out and, like, kind of enjoy playing with them. But yeah, I basically found I guess this group just from being on Facebook and combing the internet for different groups in our area. I know that I looked at, like, most places that I know of, at least specifically across Canada, there are homeschooling associations. In every province, as far as I'm aware, there's a homeschooling association.
And it's like a website for the most part? Or is it just Facebook groups?
I know ours has a website. I can't say for everyone else. But yeah, in Manitoba, there's a homeschooling association that has their own website. Mind you, it hasn't really been updated much. But I know that they've had some turnover in their board of directors. The homeschooling association is just kind of like a good
resource.
It's a good resource. They don't necessarily, like, yes, they do run groups, and there is a Facebook group that you could be a part of. They have activities and things that you can attend, socialization group that you can tend to. They have little branches off, so there's the greater provincial one, and then there's, like, the citywide one. And anyways, I digress. They have a lot of different resources, and they you can kind of sign up for their information, and they occasionally have like they have a conference every year, and then they have little activities.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we took some activity ideas from there, and what you. I think they also have resources like what you need to do in your province to.
That's actually through the homeschooling association, like not through.
But they kind of elaborate what you need to do to be within the what is it?
That's more just I see from the governmental website.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, anywhere that you are homeschooling, there should be some information on your local government website as well. Like for us, they're in the provincial. In the provincial website, there's a section for schooling, and then you can go through the homeschooling process of that, and then it has a whole bunch of information. Like for us, we have the curriculum on there from K to 12. There's different questions about like what you need to do if you're a homeschooler, how you need to qualify for homeschooling, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the legalese of homeschooling.
Yeah. Some places don't require you to even notify that you're homeschooling.
Yeah, so just don't get caught up in it necessarily, but make sure you're in a position where nobody's knocking on your door asking what's going on, because that's the worst thing you could have happen, I imagine, when government gets involved in a negative way in your homeschooling. I'm just gonna leave that there.
Yeah, that's it.
But I missed Excellus Academy as a resource online we haven't used it yet ourselves. I believe it's more American, but at the same time I've heard from a few different sources now the Excellus Academy is a great way to really get your kids going online as well. So that is it for our homeschooling tips and tricks, and
I feel like we kind of like, woo, this is our topic, but we're actually going to go over here.
That's okay.
My chair is squeaky. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'd like to think that the mic will block it out, but we'll see.
We just drew attention to it. Now people are going to be listening for it.
If you hear the squeaks,
just kidding.
Okay, easy. Thanks for tuning in. And
we're just ending.
No.
I would say if you are new to homeschooling, or if you're at all interested in looking into it, start by looking into like your local resources.
Yeah, and if you're looking for support, if you're looking for what to do, how to start, drop us a comment down below. We'll help if we can.
I am a whiz at finding information on the internets.
And we will help if we can.
I will Googles.
Yeah. Right. It's right now our comments on our podcasts are relatively low, so we'll probably see it. But it's as time goes by, I imagine there'll be more and more comments. Help each other out. Make sure to feel free to contact each other. I forget the YouTube if it blocks links. I feel like it does.
Probably.
Yeah, so there's ways around it, in putting spaces and period, typing out the word period instead of putting a dot. But if you have good resources, feel free to mention them. If something's helped you out. But if you have your own stories about great homeschooling successes, let us know as well. We do want to start developing a community here at Wildheart, so let us know. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and all that fun stuff, because we're also growing there too.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the next episode's about. It's 2 weeks away.
We never do. It's like
lots can happen between now and then.
We sit down to record these or to like go live, and we're like, "What are we doing tonight?"
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to a point where we'll be able to have a little bit more time, I'd like to think, but between a few, it's mostly me just not having time to.
Like, I also don't have time, but I also don't. I'm just a guest on these podcasts mostly. You're like,
I'm spearheading the podcast initiative.
I'm just the pretty face.
And I would like to get our podcasts up on the iTunes and all those as well, because it would be nice to have them in an RSS feed now that we have them recorded. But that way we're not beholden to the YouTubes. We could just be online and have people download them. Thanks again for tuning in.
I like your segues to the end.
Your chair is awful.
I know. This is your old chair, and you like to shake your legs, so.
Yeah. So, thanks for tuning in. Squeaky chairs and all. Your laugh makes it squeak more. The more you laugh, the more it squeaks. It sounds like your laugh is the squeak.
Anyways, bye guys. We'll see you not next week. We'll see you the week after.
Take care.